Studios. Your host is Ben T.
Komborrah CEO, Mr. Baresi, in the studio. So welcome, Mr. Baresi.
Hi, everyone. My official names are John Odhiambo. In the neighborhood over there in Kenya, most people know me as Baresi based on my soccer history. And today we are here to give you a quick overview or a quick review on what soccer balls is all about. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our number one ambassador, Mr. Musa Otieno, who is also the longest serving captain, if I can remember very well, for the Kenya national team, Harambee Stars. I played with him since we were actually under 16, I believe so. That's when we first started playing together. So we've been on a long journey together. We've fought many battles together in the soccer field, both teammates and opponents, and we've always maintained that friendship. And so that's why I believe in him and trust in him, and that's why I brought him in as an ambassador from day one. And most of you who are familiar with Kenyan soccer, you know Musa Otieno is not a small name over there when it comes to the game of soccer in Kenya. He's captained the national team that I actually played with him. He was there before me, but I joined him later on in '97. Played together before I left Kenya, came to the US. And he's been a long-serving member when it comes to soccer in Kenya. He's right now coaching young kids, trying to mentor them, get them into the game. He had his career back in Kenya and went pro in South Africa, came back to Kenya to give back because he realized he might not be playing, but he can still mentor young talents and keep Kenya on the right path. Thank you, Mr. Musa, for being a great ambassador for Komborrah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baresi. So right now, you're going to welcome Mr. Musa Otieno. As viewers you've heard, Baresi has played with Musa for a long time. So Otieno going to take over, and then Charles Mururi, our panelist. So right now, it's Muroj, Baresi, and Oteshe. Welcome, guys, to Farova Studios.
No, thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me to this opportunity to Farova Studio. Baresi as the CEO, it is a pleasure. Marosh, as a schoolmate, as a teammate. I think for me, I'm honored to be, among you guys. You guys are legends. You're talking about me as a legend, but I think it is a day which I'm just happy to be part of the Farova Studio.
Great. So Baresi has said a lot of great things about you, Musa. What is Baresi? Who is Baresi to you? So in essence, he's really spoken about your relationship with him. So say something about this guy, this wonderful guy. Wait, are you there, Musa? I think we must have lost Musa.
No, I'm there, yeah. That's why I'm called Otero.
Okay.
I think if I can talk, John, if I can talk about Baresi, I think we have come a long way since, the age when we were still young at the age of 16, playing in those Coca-Cola Cup. I think for him, he has been a very instrumental player to the Kenyan football as a teammate. I remember in 1987, I think that is where I think everything went good, because I think we came with the late Fabish, may his soul rest in peace. I think he came in and he took me and Harambee Stars, which I think we started a friendship. Hello, Bariso.
Yeah, you're back now.
I would say the challenge is that because now we're in the studio now, everybody wants to talk to me, and that is a big of a challenge, because everybody's watching now in Kenya. So I can't avoid it, Morosh,
Yeah, I get it. So I don't know if you can hear me. Good. So when Benti asked me to be a panelist here, I mean, the job of a panelist is basically like a choir master. So basically, I think in my mind, the objective of today would be potentially now to really bring Komborrah to the forefront. So we've seen the products, we've heard about the journey, but I wanted just to maybe take a step back and ask John about the vision and mission of Komborrah. When you started it out, what was the vision like, and what is the mission today, and where do you see yourself moving forward?
When I actually started Komborrah, the mission was to actually just create a ball that could solve a problem that I had encountered while I was coaching youth soccer and actually watching my son's team and teammates and the frustrations they were getting. And I realized there was a problem. The kids couldn't kick hard enough, and they get excited scoring goals, but when they would get in the 18 and couldn't score, want to kick a goal kick, and the other team is just sitting on top of the 18 waiting for that ball to score on them. I realized it was causing a lot of frustrations on kids. So I started figuring out how can I solve this problem. So you can, in a nutshell, you can say Komborrah's mission is actually to solve problems that exist. So that's how the weighted ball came about. I needed to figure out, because with these little kids, I can't send them to the gym. The days of Kimbieni Milima Marakumi, those days are gone. So the only way was to figure out a safer way to build both their physical strength and mental strength, because there's nothing like being strong mentally. These kids just needed to believe in themselves. So I needed to create a ball that would do both. While they practice with the weighted ball, they develop that shooting strength. And while practicing, like we always talk about 1,000 touches per day for any player to develop, I get to shoot this ball so many times per day to develop that strength. And while they shoot this ball, mentally they start believing they're also stronger. And there's no power like that, mental strength. So once I developed that weighted ball and realized it was working, and a lot of inquiries came about, we had to figure out how can we mass manufacture to satisfy the market. So that's where the real challenge came about. Once we figured out how to create it, eventually I realized this is getting too big for just me alone. I can't do it alone. I needed to figure out people who are good at what they do on other fields who can come in and bring something into Komborrah. I really needed that team to work with me. So I brought in a team, and Musa happens to be part of that team as an ambassador and the face of Komborrah in Kenya. So Musa, being a representative over there, plays a huge role because he's now involved in Kenyan soccer, both in the grassroots all the way to the top league. He's there representing Komborrah, trying to educate people on the values of not just the game, but the equipment they use, because you need to use the proper equipment to develop your skills, to sharpen your skills.
All right.
And, yeah.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Okay.
Let me interrupt you for a second. A lot of things you say, John, a lot. You saw a problem, you decided to solve it, right? Yeah. So in a layman's point of view, you're solving it, and you talked about a weighted ball. What is a weighted ball? Can you show us what it is, and can you really describe the thinking behind it? Because I'm sitting here and I'm saying a weighted ball. What is a weighted ball? Could you describe to us what is a weighted ball, and do we have products like those in the market, and how do I distinguish it from just a regular ball?
Okay, let me give you a visual picture of what a weighted ball is. This is my Komborrah weighted ball size 3. It weighs about 1 pound. It's generally designed for kids who are 8 years and younger. It's heavier than a regular size 3 ball that they'll kick any day during a game, because that's their actual size requirement. what this weighted ball does is it develops not only their skill, because without repetition of kicking this ball and with a proper coach teaching them the proper techniques, they develop muscle memories on how to shoot. With that, since they're kicking a weighted ball, it develops those muscles that are behind the motion of kicking. And when they get back to the regular ball, they find the regular ball is much lighter. And actually, the results is almost instant. Now, the key to this weighted ball is the fact that it can absorb shock when the kids kick it. It absorbs shock. It doesn't transfer the shock back to the foot. Now, there are other weighted balls which have a disclaimer on them that says do not kick, because they don't absorb shock. They'll transfer shock back to your foot, and that's where you develop the injuries, ankle injuries and knee injuries, or you can even develop hip injury, and that means at a very tender age, the kid's career is done. So there are weighted balls, but you have to be very careful which weighted ball you got. As far as I know, Komborrah has the only safe weighted ball that kids can kick. The only thing I'll say is do not head it, because we try to avoid all these concussions. We are now learning more about concussion and all that. So I wouldn't recommend anybody to head it, but any other thing is goalkeeper training, shooting training, goal kick training, anything you want to do with it, core training, you can use a weighted ball.
So can I interrupt? I'm really sorry I'm interrupting, because I think you're giving us so much information that for me it's just overwhelming in my mind. So that means you had to go through some testing, then you had to go through an assurance process. Then you do have to actually, because as you point out, there could be some risks associated with other products that usually are going in. So walk us through that testing process, and also, you know, if I'm a curious person, is how it's designed. Is it patented? Are you thinking of patenting? Walk us through that.
The process of testing, I actually initially did it myself, because I didn't have the funds to actually hire a professional to go test it for me. So I tested it with my son and his friends. Because I figured out if I wasn't confident enough to allow my son to use it, there was no way I was going to allow anybody else's kid to use it. So between me and my son and his friends, while I was developing the ball, I actually made it in my own kitchen here. Every day I was developing it, figuring out, trying different materials, which was safer, and in the process, I tried a lot of materials. Eventually I found one that could work. And so the first prototype came, and we sent it out to where my son plays. And we saw how it was performing, and actually my son became one of the kids who, when he took a shot, everybody was scared. All the other kids were scared. So inquiries started coming about from there, and the rest is history. But on the other part, where you talk about intellectual
property,
yeah, I don't believe I want to go into details regarding that, because it's still a new product, and there's a lot of people who've been waiting. There's a lot of companies who've been working on this for years.
Okay.
So immediately they get that, you'll see them out there. So I want to make sure I'm protecting that for now.
Good enough. So that means there's intellectual property behind it. That's what I wanted to actually bring about.
There is
intellectual property.
Like, you know, like the Nike Select and those guys, they've been working hard to develop such a ball. But all the balls they've developed, weighted balls, they've failed to develop one that is safe enough to kick.
Oh man!
But they do have their own weighted balls, but usually it's for goalkeeper training only. You can only use your hands. Yeah.
I'm proud of you. I'm looking forward for that next step. I think just to appreciate that there's intellectual thinking behind it it's something that's new to me that I'm now trying to understand. A ball is always a ball to me, and I don't ever think about it any other way. So we'll probably take a break here. But the next guy, I think we'd like to hear, people who've used the product. So we hear from the horse's mouth. So our next session will be with Musa to give you feedback on your product that he's been using on the ground. So we'll take a break here.
Komborrah ni boli poa. Komborrah tuliza boli manjam dogo.
Komborrah ni boli poa. Komborrah is born and bred Kenyan. John Baresi. The ball has been stitched so well, and it can be played in any environment. Asante sana, John Baresi.
Kwa Baresi sasa, ongea na Baresi.
Nimepata ball, nimepata trainer hapa. Nimeshukuru tu sana. Tutakutumia ka video utaziona. Shukran. Okay, all right. Add it up. Add it up.
All right. Welcome back to Farova Studios. It's more than just an interview. We get to know you, the community gets to know you, the country gets to know you, the world gets to reach out to you, and most importantly, you get empowered, encouraged, benefit, build network, and realize your impact in the community and the world as a whole. So Marosh, back to you.
Right.
Welcome on next guest, Mr. Uteshe. I'm out.
Thanks. All right, so I guess we will see Musa shortly, but just to build up on, so Baresi has gone out there, he's poured his mind, his heart, his feelings, developed a product. Now a product is only as good if it's out there with the customer, and the customer is actually testing it. And Musa, I know you've really been on the forefront, and I think there are pictures out there of you. Even I think Komborrah was used in one of the finals recently in a tournament. Yeah. So talk to us about your journey. So John is developing this product. I'm pretty sure he sent you his first prototype, and maybe that development. So I think I wanted to just get to hear from you in terms of customer feedback. Where do they see? How do they how have they responded, and and what have you gone back to actually bring back to John as he continues to improve his product?
Well, I think first of all, it is a long journey, and for me, what I'll try to say that maybe even before starting to talk about the Komborrah, I think when first of all I heard about the Komborrah, first of all when you hear the name, it tells you something because of the name. Because Baresi, I think it is a pity that he was a player who was not even shooting more harder, but he came to create a ball which is called Komborrah. And I think that is where, when you talked about the Sheng, it's about Uchali amepiga Komborrah akafunga bao. So when I heard about him, and as a friend, I think for me it was a matter of how can I help my peer friend to whatever he's doing, because you can find that even whatever has been happening, the soccer players, once they retire, they're always going to poverty, or they don't have something to do. But this is somebody who has come out of his box and created something. And for me, as a CEO again of Kick Off Hope, I try to see how we can help come back to whatever we have been using with the Komborrah. I think he spoke about the solution, even solution of helping Kenyan football. because one of the things is a matter of the equipment, and I think a soccer ball is something which is very vital. He has come with totally different type of football, because we find that whatever we are playing in Kenya, there is a rainy season, our fields are a bit more harder, and Komborrah has come up with a situation where they can solve the problem. But on somebody who has been using it, I think sky is the limit, and we have been trying to help him as an ambassador to try and spread the message to people that, hey, let's support our own. Let's come up with somebody who has come to see that Kenyan football, how can we change it? Because sometimes, Moresh, you find that you're having managers who, whatever they're coming to say that they're buying a ball. We've been having so many different kind of soccer balls in Kenya. But, there is a ball which is for training. There is one which is for the matches. And this is somebody who has come in and said that, oh, Otero, you have played football and you're having an academy. How can you help in the situation which is happening in Kenya? He's not coaching, but he's using a tool which it can help Kenyan football for people to come. That it is our own guy who has come up in an idea. How can I help him as a teammate, as a Kenyan, to sell the product? But on the feedback, I think I can just say that sky is the limit. He needs to work even more harder, because he's in a competition where he needs to play his card well, the way he played against Nigeria as a midfielder marking on Okocha. So he needs to be more creative, and he knows that I'm behind him. I'll support him as much as I can.
Basically, John has contacted you. You now have a product in your hand, but you know that product has been built for the surfaces in the US. And now you become the person who actually uses that prototype to really inform him on how to improve the product. And so you bring in this idea of, okay, it's not just a product. The product has to respond to the environment in which it's working. Have you seen the products that he's sending now to be, useful on the hard surfaces that we have? And what kind of feedback have you given him? And and is he developing? Has he told you that he's developing a tool that can be used for our fields that are usually not at the best?
Yeah, first of all, you remember that I was an ambassador to an organization called Alive and Kicking, which I think you are dealing against balls. And if you can compare with whatever material they are using and whatever Baresi is using, it is a plus and is going to the right direction. And you're talking about the condition and the weather. Because the good thing which I find with the Komborrahs is that wherever we're playing, when it is raining, the ball still remains on its shape, which is like when you find that you bought a ball for size 5, but after 3 months, when it is raining and it has soaked weather or water, it becomes size 10. And with Komborrah, I think that is something which we spoke about and said that it is a product. It is a product which I want him to help, because remember, he's competing against so many big companies which are producing good quality balls. But every day is a learning process. But on my feedback, as somebody who has used it with the academy, try even to tell people, to give people advice that my desire is to see people using it even in the league, in the Premier League, because the only challenge is a matter of the thorns which you normally have with our fields. Again, those are things, the feedback which will tell him that wherever you're going to come up with a ball, you need to consider that there's no way I'm going as a Kenyan, if I'm having a tubeless ball and it is punctured, I cannot use 300 Kenya shillings. That is like $3. $3 in Kenya is a lot compared to this team from Muta. So what kind of a ball can he come with? At least to know this is a player from Mashinani. When you tell him to go and repair a ball for 300, it's like buying another ball. So he needs to come up with something which that they'll rather go for our own, but it is affordable and quality is good. And I believe that with the direction which is facing, and people are down here using it, because our field, Morori, I can tell you that those are fields that after 1 month, the design is even gone.
John, what's cooking? What's cooking in response to what Musa is talking about, our surfaces? What's cooking in Komborrah at this point?
And that's what Musa said goes in line with Komborrah's mission, where we said we look into problems and figure out how to solve it. I think that's the only way we're gonna separate or set ourselves apart from the big companies. So we don't make a ball like a generic kind of ball that one size fits all. So after listening to, and based on I grew up in Kenya, I played in those Kenyan fields, so I kind of have a knowledge on how those fields are, but also given the feedback from the guys who are there on the ground, like Musa, we realize we have a problem there in Kenya that needs to be solved. One is there's a scarcity of resources, mainly funds from the kids in the neighborhoods. They don't have, they can't be buying balls every 2-3 months. They have to have something that's long lasting. And the next scarcity was created by the plastic paper ban. You remember when we were growing up, we used to make our own plastic balls, and that was it. And we would go, and they would last in those fields. Now they don't have that. So the government has created another scarcity. So if you combine resources and financial resources and plastic ban, those are two scarcities. And then you add another one like inadequate playing surfaces. So these kids are facing every obstacle you can think of. Now, as Komborrah, if we go in there as business as usual, I don't think we are doing justice to the community we are trying to serve. Sending them balls for the sake of making profits, we are not helping these kids in any way. So how can we solve their problem? There's no way I, as Baresi, can go start arguing with the government about developing the fields. No way, I don't have such powers. But what can I do? As a member of Komborrah, I know we can brainstorm and figure out ways to build a ball that can be suitable for those conditions, where it's affordable, it's durable, and it still gives them what my biggest concern is, the equipment they need to develop, sharpen their skills. Because when we were growing up, even Musa can attest to this, we would play with those size 7, 8, 9 balls in the neighborhood with those rough fields, barefoot, and then we go play major tournaments in Europe, and now it's like everything is like voila. It's like it was a surprise. So right now, if we can give our young players the same feel they will get when they leave Kenya to go play those international tournaments, by giving them the proper size ball, the proper weight ball, but still develop this ball in such a way that it lasts long, so they don't have to pay an arm and a leg just to get one soccer ball. So right now, we have a ball in the pipeline, in the making, just to tackle this one problem. And I'm hoping by January it's going to be out. It's in the second phase of trials. And based on the feedbacks, Musa, and we have somebody else who's been helping us big time with feedbacks, Otamax. So we are developing a ball that is going to solve this problem. And that, like I say, it goes hand in hand with Komborrah's mission: solve problems. We see the problem, we figure out how to solve it. I don't think there's any problem bigger than all our heads put together.
Awesome. So that's great. So you have another ball that you can walk us through. One of the other products you have there. Any other one that you can introduce us to?
Oh yeah, yes, we do have. And this is a very important point on educating people about soccer balls. Because we have different kinds of regular soccer balls. Now, let's not talk about the weighted ball for now. Let's talk about regular soccer balls. Because you see, some people will go buy a ball. They'll go for the cheap ball, whatever price, their price range, or whatever they think they've saved. But sometimes that you think you've saved, but it's only short term. Long term, you've actually spent a lot, because that ball you bought is very substandard, and we've seen it in many cases. It's just shiny, but it's not everything that glitters is gold. At this point, what I would like our viewers to understand is, like, given that we have different kind of balls, if your equipment manager or whoever is purchasing soccer balls for you, if they know exactly what they're looking for, then you're in good hands, because there is training balls and there is game balls. For example, I'm going to walk you through this. This one is, in our website, we call it a blaze. A blaze is actually a game ball. You can see its shiny surface. It's very shiny because it's designed to be able to maintain its performance from the kickoff of a game till the end of the game, it doesn't change in weight or size. It just stays the same. So that from kickoff, when you touch that ball to the end of the game, it feels exactly the same. So you don't have to adjust your style of play in any way, adjust how much weight you put behind kicking a ball or passing a ball or things like that. The same movement it has on the wind from the beginning of the game stays the same till the end. So that's where most people, when they go buy such a ball, because it's a game ball, they usually sell for more. It's a game ball. They think like, I got the best ball, they bring it to practice. No, the game balls don't last for practice. They're not built for practice. They're not that durable. They're just built for performance. Then now we have practice balls. Like this ball here, this is our Valiant. Valiant is actually developed for practice. And if you look at it, the material is a little bit rugged so that it can last longer. And now this one, yes, it can be used in games, but not major games, local games here. But it lasts longer than regular game ball. So if your equipment manager knows exactly what they're looking for and why, the purpose of the ball, then you're in good hands. Yeah, we don't just shop for balls because it is cheaper or whatever it is. Yep. So when you have the knowledge, you're good. Knowledge is power.
So a Blade and Valiant.
Yeah.
Good. Now I know them. I know something about them. So you really bring about a very interesting point, and it's something that could have happened. Kenya versus Harambee Stars versus Comoros. And I want to, it's speculation, but I'd like it to be entertained. But we'll take a short break and then we come back. Let's talk a little bit more about the role of a ball in really maybe deciding some games. So let's come back after this course.
Na hii si rocket science.
Na hii si rocket science. Hii si rocket science.
Okay, all right.
Add it up.
Welcome back. So we're here with John and Musa, and trying to learn something. I'm learning a lot, that is just not a ball. And so in this segment, I wanted to, be a little bit, challenging. I don't know what to say, but can a ball actually determine or decide an outcome of a game? Say, for example, if you chose the wrong equipment in this case, could you really determine the outcome of a game? And that's just an open question, but we'll be specific on the Kenya versus Comoros game.
Our days of playing and how a ball could impact the outcome of a game. Mm-hmm. For example, when we travel to places like Mumias, they would pump the ball beyond the required limit, and the ball would be so hard that it would be hurting our feet or even the head. And they were used to it because they train with it every day. But for us, it was so painful, we didn't even want to touch that ball. And of course, it was so hard to play against these guys. because of how the ball was. So the ball can determine how. And sometimes when the ball is underinflated, you can tell that you can't you can't shoot the ball the way you want to shoot it, or pass it and get it to where it needs to get to. You have to apply more pressure. It's just uncomfortable. So when we looked at the Comoros Kenya game, that free kick, it seemed like a very genius free kick. But based on my opinion, that guy used a technique that I thought was amazing. But then, of course, maybe the ball was lighter than it should have been. Maybe it was a little bit underinflated. That could have changed the flight of the ball media depending on the wind. So there's a lot of factors that could have played. Because at first I thought that ball was deflected. Looked at the replay, that ball never touched anybody. But it changed midway through the flight. It changed course and went the other way. I left the keeper outed on the ground there. So maybe that ball was underinflated, but there's a range. There's a range. I didn't get to see the ball, but when you look at the every ball comes with an instruction on how much air needs to be in it. So I know Komborrah takes about 6 to 8 pounds of air, PSI. So the referees are always supposed to gauge. They're supposed to have a gauge to check if the ball is well inflated. If not, then they set it aside.
Okay. So it could have been it could have had less air into it, so maybe deflated.
Yeah.
But that should be affecting everyone, right? That should be affecting. And I think during the game there was also another shot that was on the Kenyan side that also kind of seemed to ricochet or move around. It wasn't like going straight, and that got me thinking: is the ball really affecting some of the outcome? Could you talk about when the South African World Cup, the Jabulani ball? What was the story behind it?
I remember the Jabulani ball really well. It looked very colorful when it saw it looked like a very good ball, but all the top players, the Messis and whoever, Ronaldo, they complained about the ball. They said it was moving weirdly when they hit free kicks and all that. That's why there was less free kicks scored in that World Cup. But they said the Jabulani, the way it was made, wasn't in the best standards they expected. But on another note, you look at it like maybe it wasn't built for the kind of atmosphere they are used to. Maybe it was built for, depends on where you are. But if they had, I believe a Jabulani came from Adidas, so there has to be a FIFA requirement that they had to follow through. Is it the ball or was it the atmosphere where they were? You never know. But I know for sure the ball, the design of it can't change the performance of the ball. That's why game balls are made in such a way that it doesn't matter on what whether it's rainy, muddy, or the conditions, the ball performance should be the same. It shouldn't change. Now, practice ball can change based on where you are.
Okay.
For most people in Kenya who use leather balls, they know very well that every time it rains, the ball gets heavier. It becomes from, instead of being the regular size, expands, becomes 2 sizes bigger, and the weight, it becomes heavier. So, and that's why FIFA has changed to, or ball standards have changed from leather materials to the materials we use now.
Okay, thank you. So I wonder if Musa is back, because I wanted him to take on that question because he's on the ground and probably could have spoken to some of the players, you know, and also observing. I think it was Ayub Timbe. Ayub Timbe was playing on the fullback.
Left. Was it?
Yeah.
What left wing?
Yeah, he
was left midfield or left wing.
Yeah, I've seen him bring crosses, like crosses that are not rainbow crosses. But this game, the ball seemed to be flying so high, fast before it lands. You know, and you know, in thinking about your work, I was like, could it be that you know the ball is really even affecting how you take a cross, that maybe you're putting too much power and the ball is not designed for that, or you should be hitting it from a very different place. So it could be that Ayub, but I just thought could have affected. And Musa, you are back. Are you back?
Thank you. I think I just need to talk before it goes away again. My apologies,
No,
I think one of the things, Maurice, I think what I can say about the yesterday's match, the one which the national team played, I think first of all, the technique was very good, because when I inquired to the goalkeeper trainer and asked him what was the difference, compare that ball to the other balls, he just told me that the balls are okay, but the technique of the guy who took the free kick was super. And I think that is something which, again, the balls are made to make goalkeepers' life a nightmare. And I think that is one of the balls which I think when you get it maybe 5 days prior to the match, it's always a challenge. But I think that is, you talked about the Komborrah again, the Jabulani. I think Jabulani was made to make goalkeepers having nightmares, because, players have been going to the matches and they're not scoring. And I just came up with an opportunity of what can we do at least for teams to score goals. And I think the balls are made to give keepers a bit of a problem.
Wow. Okay, that's quite interesting. I mean, there were many instances I observed the game, and I was like, something is really not working. So it brings to the point that, as a team or somebody who's running a team and the management, I think having this knowledge seems to be crucial. Because, for example, if you're just, if you are used to practice games, or you're used to, you're used to playing, with the game balls, then you're utilizing the game balls as fast as possible, and soon you will not have any game balls, probably practice balls. I wonder if what you could say to a management of a team, whatever team there is, with respect to a product like a football.
I think one of the things which I'll maybe try to give that input, because you remember what Paris is talking about. Yeah, and in a sense that there is training balls and there is match balls. So wherever there is a match, what are we using for us to go and play a match? And if it is about training, what are we using to go and use for training? Because I think that is one of the challenges which has been happening, in a sense that we don't know which balls are we supposed to use for training and which one is for the match.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting, because I would imagine that the guy who has the check to buy the equipment is told to buy balls, but it's not given an idea of what type of balls for what purposes. So maybe this is something of importance to the managers of teams who are listening to this podcast, or this viewing our discussion here, that in essence there should be some thinking behind the ball, and looking at it just not just as a ball, but an equipment that has different purposes moving forward. So I don't know if you have anything else to say, John, before we wrap up.
Yeah, pretty much I would say you've hit the nail on the head. Like the managers or people charged with buying the equipments, they need to dig in a little bit, do some research, figure out exactly what they're buying, because that can be the difference between their team playing at this level and the team playing at a lower level. Because like you say, practice makes perfect. You practice so you practice so hard with defective or substandard equipment, you become good at being substandard. But if they give them the proper equipment to practice with, proper atmosphere, they will become the best they can be. Now, talking about game balls, yes, they need to have a comfortable feeling of the ball. So it means a little bit before those days they get acclimated to the ball. Same way we used to go to a different country a few days ahead of time to get acclimated to the weather. It's the same way the foot needs to get used to that game ball, so that you don't see those rainbow crosses, because they need to adjust how they do things every day based on what they have that day.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. I don't know if he's back, but I think we're getting close to wrapping this up. And in listening, and I say today I'm going to be learning a lot. I feel like I have some takeaway things that I've learned. One thing I've learned here is that I didn't even think about it. The banning of plastic balls has just really reduced access to a ball. Because you think about kids in Mashinani or when we were growing up, that's the ball. That was the ball. And, there was one guy who was great in knitting them up. And that, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, the government has created scarcity by banning those banning use of plastic in Kenya.
Wow.
Not only in Kenya, globally, but we know why we really need those plastic. We will find them everywhere. We will easy for us to come up with a ball based on that. But now there's scarcity now. We have to figure it out.
Yeah, that was our first ball. And as Musa, you're talking about it, in Mashinani, if I don't recall me buying a ball when I was a kid. There was just either one ball or some guy with a ball. So this is a serious problem.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one part too that we need to educate the masses when it comes to picking the right ball. We have to know what age group we are dealing with.
Okay.
If it's 8 years and under, we need to be using a size 3 ball. You can't expect an 8-year-old kid or a 7-year-old kid to use a size 5 ball. And in case of Kenyan soccer balls, a size 7 ball, which is supposed to be a size 5. So this ball is so huge on this kid's foot, and you expect this kid to be able to juggle this ball and master ball control, ball mastery, as we do know it. We studied at a very early age. So this kid has to have a ball that is small enough for him to be able to manipulate. Having a big ball that is bigger than his head, there's no way he's going to be able to to manipulate this ball. So size 3 is 8 years and under. And then size 4 is from 8 to 12 years old. That's the perfect ball for them. And then from 12 years and above, that's when we go to size 5.
Smile. I like Musa. Musa is always smiling.
He's very optimistic. Very optimistic.
Yeah, Musa, I've never seen him angry for something. He's always smiling. I like the guy. Really, I enjoy him.
I've seen him angry when we've lost a game.
I've not seen Musa angry. Actually, we lost one day in Mombasa when we were in high school, just one time. But I don't recall him being angry that game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen him angry. Maybe Captain Fantastic. But in terms of wrapping up here, so a couple of things I think that I've learned personally. I think Komborrah on one is really taking the product of a football and really using it in understanding. And I'm thinking about like a researcher, because I do research. So in thinking about how do you respond to a problem without really in the most effective way? And the other thing I've heard about is thinking about a ball from a cost effectiveness point of view. So are you going to buy 10 of them that are going to burst tomorrow? Are you going to buy, or are they going to be roughed up? Or are you going to buy one that can last you longer? The cost effectiveness part also comes into utilizing the right tool for the right job. Because if you take the tool for the game that it's only utilized for 90 minutes and given a rest, in practice or the other way around, chances are you're going to be affecting the cost of it down the road. The third thing I think is that I've learned is that a ball can actually affect an outcome of a game, big game, small game, whatever game. And I think being able to acclimatize as you do for your own health is equally important to really do. And I really want to thank you for educating us for that. I really admire you, actually. You're very brilliant guys. I really, truly admire your tenacity, your thinking. It's not just, you're not just branding a piece of leather to you are actually thinking hard and making this more of an innovation. So you're actually bringing innovation in the equipment of, in soccer equipment, and would really want to thank you. And I don't know where Benti is, but wanted to wrap it up at this point, unless you have anything else, or if you have Musa back. Benti, do we have Musa back?
Yes, we do, and I think Ronald Okoth too is about to join us as well. So we might just give a few minutes. My producers backstage are welcoming him in, so just hold tight.
Okay.
We can take a commercial break while you are getting ready to get in the studio.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. Otherwise, Oteshe, thanks so much for joining us. We'll come to wrap up while you welcome Aro. Let's get a commercial break here.
Komborrah ni boli poa. Komborrah tuliza boli wanja mdogo. Komborrah ni boli poa. Komborrah tuliza boli wanja mdogo.
Okay, all right.
Add it up.
All right, viewers, welcome back. We're about to be joined by Mr. Ronald Okoth, who has been a very influential guy in social media. So we're gonna welcome Mr. Otero, at least to introduce Ronald. Otero, are you there with us?
I'm there with you. First of all, I just want to take this opportunity to introduce somebody who I was his coach. You know, he's somebody who has done a lot of things in Kenyan football. You know, he's an ex-national team player, an ex-national team footballer with Mathare United. You know, he's a CEO now at the moment with RO Sports Academy. You know, he's an Equity Sports ambassador. I think he has done a lot. That is Ronald Okoth.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank Coach Musa for the great introduction. Manze, kwa introduce na legend kama Musa hivo. It's over the moon. I might sleep with shoes tonight. I'll actually sleep with my shoes on tonight. So Coach Musa, Manze, I'm so grateful. I think you've been an inspiration to us from way back. Most of the things we're doing today is because you guys paved the way for us. I mean, your advice, I think in the past I've come to you for regular advice now and then, and you're one person I look up to. I think a lot of inspiration for the most of the things I'm doing currently been inspired by you, and I'm so grateful to you, manze Coach Musa. Mungu akuzidishie na uzidi bado pia kutufungulia njia na kila kitu na kwa mawazo na wisdom yako. So thank you so much for your wisdom and everything that you've done actually for the game, because without you guys again atungeweza and just like I said before, we look up to you for everything. I mean, inspiration and everything. So Coach Musa, we celebrate you big time, and thanks for always, being just part of the game and just showing us the way. And Komborrah, Farova, again, it's a pleasure being on the show once again. And Charles Muiruri, Benti, guys, I'm so humbled you guys have invited me into this prestigious show. And Baresi, again, a legend of the game. I'm just so humbled to be amidst you guys. So I'm so excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to the show. Yeah.
Karibu. Now, Werosh, floor is yours.
Yeah. So Aro, the way I've listened to you describing Musa and John is just like the stories I've seen with Allen Iverson describing Michael Jordan. Like you were close to Michael Jordan, and oh my God, you're looking at his shoes. You can't believe he's there. So thank you for coming in. You represent a very interesting crop of footballer. So you really represent a very different crop of footballers. And thanks for giving Musa the props, because without them doing it, you'd never have understood how would you actually become an ex-player who's doing something and something impactful. And so I've followed you. If Musa was your coach, I probably would have been your coach, because I'm as old. So I'm an old guy. I've followed your career somehow, followed what you do, and you represent a very interesting crop of footballers. You started thinking ahead of what you're going to do in retirement when you're still playing. So, which is something that I find quite interesting, and it's something when I visited Musa in South Africa, sometime we hang out in Cape Town, he was thinking about retirement, but he was actually a player, but he was talking to me about what he's thinking to do. And so the three of you really represent a new crop of the way a footballer should be doing. But interesting for you, you're an e-commerce guy, you're a social media guy, which is, all of us, I'm supposed to be on social media, but I have a Twitter account, I have a Facebook account, but the last time I ever posted anything that has anything to do with me, I'm not trained like that. I'm not trained to go and brag and talk about myself. But you guys, your generation this is so normal. This is really normal. And so talk about how you think your ambassadorship is a Komborrah ambassador, and your knowledge in e-commerce, your knowledge in social media. How do you think Komborrah should be positioning itself in that front?
First of all, again, thank you for the kind words. So grateful for that. And on to your question, I think first of all, we must understand that Komborrah is a brand itself, and to me, it's high time. It should be pushed as a brand, because the potential is there. The balls are quality, the product is quality, and it just needs to penetrate the market. And for a product actually to sell, to position itself, there are various things that need to be done in terms of marketing, branding. The name should be pushed outside there. People should be engaged, the fans, people should know about the brand and all that. And I feel it's about time that Komborrah, should come into the market, should step into the market, because it's a product that has a lot of quality, has a lot of potential. From the few, from the balls that we've had around, actually, personally, I've received some very, commendable, some very encouraging comments. From guys who've used it. For example, I think last week, but one, I was just speaking to a grassroots team just around Jericho, and they were telling me actually that the first edition of Komborrah balls that they were given actually served them so well, and they really like the product, and they can't wait to actually receive the next batch, hopefully, if they'll get some, because they really love the ball. So I feel it's a product that really needs to be branded, really needs to be marketed, really needs to be pushed outside there. And I think as a brand ambassador role, and in social media and everything, marketing goes a long way. We must push the brand on social media. Personally, I must represent the brand, because again, for you to represent a brand, you must package yourself properly. And I feel I'm in a good position whereby maybe I can try and maybe help push the name and hopefully make Komborrah a brand in Kenya. Yeah.
Great. Talks about packaging. Can you break down packaging for me? Not trained like you, but break down packaging for me. So how do you package something, a brand?
Well, you can package it in different ways, but again, just like you said before, in this day and age of social media, where actually the mainstream media is actually being pushed away from some of these opportunities, because we have social media in place. We have Zoom, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, Instagram, and all these are avenues that actually should be used in terms of promoting a brand. So in terms of packaging, I think, Komborrah should be it's a brand that should be associated with the right guys. I mean, the right people who can promote it. It's a brand that I feel it should be pushed outside them in terms of even being maybe partnering with the shops or retail shops, maybe supermarkets, maybe sports shops and all that. Just sharing with them the idea of we need a stand in your shop whereby we can put these products, and maybe at the end of the month you get maybe a certain percentage from the sales that you'll be making. In terms of packaging, again, we must put this brand on social media in terms of maybe a brand ambassadorship role, whereby we have maybe an athlete who's able to represent this product as a brand ambassador, and in return is able maybe to do certain programs that can help promote this brand, because, for example, in social media, I mean, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we have a lot of following. You have a lot of huge following. I mean, a lot of guys actually, accessing the avenues. And this is actually a brilliant opportunity for the product to be put out there. And the only way the name can be pushed, is again, when we are able to market it in the right way, we are able to push it into the right clients. Because again, with products, again, they come with different qualities and all that. So we must actually know this product's for certain guys, and this product can go to the certain market and all that, so that at the end of the day, the product is still able to sell in different ways, and actually everyone can be able to be satisfied from the whole product, because everyone will be able to access it easily, depending on the quality, or maybe depending on the version of the ball that they want. And at the end of the day, again, the product itself is selling. So there are actually very many ways that we can package this product, and to me, I feel it's all about just exhausting each and every way that we can find, so that at the end of the day, the product can sell and the product can hit the market and penetrate it as well. Yeah.
Awesome. I like the way you put it in. Not being trained in marketing, I'm definitely hearing everything. You're saying all the right things. John is dangling something there. John, what are you dangling? Is that a new product? Is that something that you want to talk about?
It is one of our balls in our portfolio. This is actually, I wanted to remind Musa of the days when he used to be the expert of making paper balls, plastic paper balls. Bolia Jwala. Remember it had a thing like this, Musa, when you're alone and you're struggling. Now look at this. These things. Somebody has a patent on this here in the US. While we were, how many years ago, like 40-something years ago, we were making this and playing with them. So most of this Western technology that they patent and claim it's theirs, it's really not theirs, like the weighted ball. If you know how to make bolia jwala, then you know where the weighted ball technology really comes from. Let me leave it at that, so that's whoever knows, whoever doesn't know bolia jwala, no, because bolia jwala is tough and it's safe. We played it every day. It's safe.
Yeah.
So guess where our ingenuity comes from? Back to Mutani.
Yeah. Then that's genius. That's really genius.
Yeah. So now we have this here, which is something Musa already made like 40 years ago. He was playing with this akijago like Duka.
And that's go ahead.
And I think even one of the good things with whatever I'm seeing with Baresi even holding, that things helps the players who can't juggle well, because I think it's just for them to, the beginners to start juggling, because kids will just have to get something which is easy for them. Once you know that the boys can juggle properly, the string is taken away from them. But again, it's a matter of thinking off the box. Those are things which we saw a long time ago. But it's just a matter, how can they put them in a way that it is a model way to see that, there's sometimes wherever you are doing something, you find that those things were done long time ago. But because we didn't see beyond whatever we were doing, it seems to be something which is very new. But again, the way, Okoth said, Balitoli, we just need to come, and it is our own. Komborrah is our own. It is from our own person. How can we do to support each other in a way that to market it in a very, very good way? Because sometimes we find that even with the Facebook, we use it in the wrong way. And that is a place where we can do something which can even take you to another level, even to players. Those are things which we are having. You find that wherever you're seeing somebody's photos, it's totally different, not even concerning football or even a sport. But Facebook is there for us to market ourselves. You can see, even for me, That is the only thing which I'm using at Kickoff to Hope. That is where people can see me very well. So that is my passion. I'm going there every day to do positive things. And I think we'll have to push it. Let's support him. I will support him without even getting something. But I know what is behind him, where he has come from, and you know where he's going with Komborrah. I'll be so happy to see that Komborrah is being used in our league in Kenya.
That is awesome. So that's good. Getting to where I'm thinking we've basically exhausted and discussed quite a bit at length, covered a lot, learned a lot, hopefully, for the viewers. And so I'll shoot it back to, we'll see if Benti has any parting.
Let me before you bring it back to Benti, I'd like to officially introduce Aro as a member of Komborrah team. We've always Musa, everybody knows when they see Musa now they see Komborrah's face, but Aro is our newest member. So I'd like to take this opportunity to officially introduce him to our team. Welcome, Aro.
Musa, the whole Juala thing, how are kids actually now playing in the neighborhoods?
I think it is a challenge. When we are talking about the Juala thing, Moroj, I can tell you that I was one of the best guys to make those Juala balls, and I used to sell them around the community. But now things have changed. Places which we used to walk and collect those Jualas, there's no more place. Kids that just want the Nike balls, the Puma balls. Things are totally different. The way they have grown up, it was our generation. But to this generation which is here, when you tell them about the Juala things, like, hey, what are you talking about? It's something which is totally new to them. They don't play those street football, the 4v4, the 2v2s. It is very difficult, choosing to wear boots. And, I think for us, things are just totally different in a hard way. But it really built up even our technique. Sometimes for us, even to know the technique, we're just going to the wall. You kick the ball, across the wall, back and forth, back and forth. And then you end up, knowing how to pass the ball or even to dribble or even to head. Nowadays, you don't see all those kind of things because they don't even have the spaces to go and play or to practice.
Wow, that's quite interesting. Yeah, it didn't occur to me that that was going to have a direct effect on football. It's a direct effect on football. So the kids, maybe the kids in the nice neighborhoods, but even the kids in the slums, you would imagine that at least maybe that would be the easiest, closest thing they get to use as a ball, the Juala balls.
No, because it was costly. We are not even using a lot of money. It's something which was just coming from the trash, which we find that we're enjoying it. It was even bouncing. In a sense that there's nothing like taking it to the to the fundi to be repaired. You just go ikiisha inachoko nje inachomwa na jua ama inanyeshewa, and life goes on. But things have changed.
We used to have a guy in our neighborhood who would recycle some of them, like take the old ball, put on top the new Juala, and now you have a new ball after that. It was quite interesting. Yeah. So
I can tell you, I used to go to school, over the weekend, we'll go to Uru Market. I think Benti knows the Uru Market very well. You're having on a Monday, we'll start a business. When you go to the school, you end up selling those balls 1 shilling, and you find that on a Wednesday, you don't have a ball. You'll go back and take it. I say that I'm the one who made the ball. But, it was, we were thinking off the box, but I think for now, it's like kids are, spin food, everything's just there for them, nowadays they'll have to train the boots, they can't play barefoot, but it is their generation, things are changing, things are changing, and we need to change with whatever is happening. And I think for me, whatever Komborrah has come in is a matter of trying to see how can we produce small balls in Kenya, because we find that young boys are using wrong equipment or tools to go and play, which is very bad because of lack of education too, and it is really affecting our kids and even our playing scenario or environment.
Yeah, sounds like you very much, John, Musa, and Ronald, for your time. I know you would have been doing other things, but decided to actually come and participate in this forum today. John, I think you're up to something very interesting, and your company is really charging the way forward in thinking about how you can utilize what you learn to develop an intervention for something that could be sustainable over time in an environment that may not be as conducive. You are a brilliant thinker, and you're surrounding yourself with the right people. Musa and Ronald, I think, great people, great role models. Everybody looks up to them, and I think I'm glad they are part of the team, and I'm glad that they're joining you to charge forward. Musa doesn't want anything. I want something. I want it to grow, and actually we make money. That's for me. I think money is not bad, because money is what's gonna drive that change. And Musa is a humble guy. I love the guy, but Musa,
no, Moresh, I'll talk there a bit. You know, as an ambassador, for me, I think that is something which I say to Baresi. You know, sometimes wherever you are an ambassador in something, maybe somebody will give you money for you to go and represent him. And that's why I said that I don't want money from Baresi. I know that on the other side, for him to make money is to sell those balls. But you know, sometimes when you come and do somebody's product, most of the guys will ask for money. And I know that where you have come from with Baresi is a matter of trying to help him as a brother, as somebody has played with, somebody has think, you know, we played soccer together. And that's why I say that I'm not going to ask him for any money to go and, you know, be an ambassador on his product, to come and help him as a teammate, as a friend, you know, as somebody who has grown together.
Yeah, I really do appreciate
I think that's very, very important. Maybe Baresi, what do you have to say to Mr. Otieno? That's very, encouraging.
Yeah, it is very encouraging, and I know, like, the first guy I thought of to represent me in Kenya was Musa, and I knew, like, I can share my vision with him, and I can explain to him honestly where we are at. We are still growing, crawling stages, but I knew he can buy into what we are doing, because he underwent through the same problems I went through. And so he knows what the vision is, where we are headed. And if we can get there, there'll be, how I can sum it is like, right now, Komborrah is like a rising tide. And when it gets to its peak, I think you'll see all those ships get raised. We are all gonna go high with the tide. So Musa, I really appreciate sharing the same vision as me, because that's how business runs. If you don't have enough people sharing the same vision as you, it's just gonna fall apart.
So I wanted to clarify to Musa. I don't want to get paid now. I'm saying when John
is all the way up there,
when the tide is high up there, millions and millions of dollars, I really want to invest in that company. I want to invest it in the company, and so that's the thinking of them making the money, not to get paid to do the ambassador job. No. I'm just saying, as an investor, I'd love to actually be able to get into it, because I know when the ship is going high, I'll be part of the ships that go high, and not the ships that watch things go high. So in essence, just to say, I think my prayer and my belief is that Komborrah actually grows, and we sit back here 10 years from now and actually say, look at what it is today. And I think these are the major steps, and I think that's when we will see change. That's where we will be able to do more impact into many other things that we would like to do. So really thank you guys, and I'm honored. Usually I'm honored. I'm a zero name, but each Musa and John have really played a significant role. Musa, I know you remember when I wasn't even thinking I would go with Ofafa Jericho
to Mombasa.
Yeah, to the Kakamega High game. I was like, I'm a student at Ofafa. I'm like, I don't even play football, but you guys were like, you should come and practice, man. You should come and play. And, in that way, you basically helped me out and discovered me to some extent that I can kick something. Aro,
thank you.
I'm watching you, and I'm watching you because you're a rising star. And I think in terms of ex-players, I think you're playing, your star is shining, and you are surrounding yourself with the right people. And so really thank you. John, as always, John gave me my first boot. Like, my first boot came from this short. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So I'm totally thankful. Let's wrap up. Thank you, and I've enjoyed it. I've really had a blast. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Just to wind up, we have a Swahili session here in a minute. Will be like 10 minutes only. At the same time, we have a Komborrah lounge this coming weekend, which is on the 21st at Dr. Craft. When you go to a Swahili session, Musa will tell us more about it, the preparation and what's going on. So viewers, don't leave. We're coming back with a Swahili session after this commercial break.
Komborrah, ni boli poa.
Okay, alright.
Add it up.